Can you guys hear me? Hello? All right, should be okay now. So anyway, I'll backtrack for a second. So I wanted to do something a little bit different with this live stream. Someone gave me the idea for it last night, so it's a little bit more impromptu. But my goal with this is to give you guys an idea of how to like read price action a little bit more clearly. Like I feel like oftentimes people are looking to hop into a short or a long like too early, or like they're not taking profit soon enough because they think there's going to be some kind of a big move. So what we'll do is we'll just take like a brief look at this, and I just like want to point out something to you guys. Like even if we zoom in here, I want you to see this. Like we have a pump. I'm going to change the color here. Hang on. So we have a pump and price then move sideways, right? Channel, sweep, pump, channel, sweep, and we can go up here, pump, channel, sweep, pump, channel, sweep, pump, channel, you know, and so on and so forth, right? And this one was even like some degree of a larger sweep, right? So like when we have that down here, it was pump, channel, sweep, pump, channel, sweep, pump, channel, larger sweep, right? Where we take out more of these lows. And like the idea I want to point out to you are a couple different things. Let me think of how I really want to organize this here. Okay, so yeah, we're going to talk about this, and then I'm going to talk about how to recognize trend reversals. Okay. And using confirmations. Okay, cool. So like the idea is here, you know, when you, and we're in something of a similar situation now, so this is why it's kind of nice to point out. So like when you're, you know, at this point in the charts, right, you have to acknowledge that we're in a range bound environment. Okay, like that's the number one thing. Okay, so you guys have drawn channels many times, so like we can go ahead and, you know, draw our channel, you know, like this, bring it down to the lows, right? However low you want that to be. Maybe it's, you know, maybe it's here. You do want that midline to be very well respected, so, you know, maybe we bring it down a little bit more and we call this the range low, you know, something like this. So acknowledging that we're in a range bound environment, right? That means that price right here is at resistance, just like it was here. Okay. So when we recognize that, and so the question, right, that was posed to me was to talk about how to like make confirmations using price action, and then how to like acknowledge a trend reversal. So like here, I want to point out to you, if you're looking for a trend reversal, right? Like if you're anticipating some degree of a trend reversal, I like the steps would be, where is that trend reversal going to take us? A, okay, so like that would be the first thing, and you can do that many ways. You could use it, you know, do some Fibonacci pulls, right? You know, so you could say, all right, well at this point, you know, I would expect that trend reversal to bring us like to the midline, maybe down to the 618. So you can say like, you know, somewhere in this zone I think would be a good start. You can kind of say to yourself, right, and this is just like a very, I'm not like, you know, I'm not doing the real analysis here. So I'm just pointing that out to you, right? So first you would say, well, I think, you know, there's a lot of really good confluence here. This is a lot of really good support here. I think this is a great zone to maybe consider some degree of a long position, or where price could come down to. Okay, cool. So we have like our general target, right? But we have to ask ourselves like, why, maybe the first question is, why would we be expecting a trend reversal right now? Okay. And like a lot of people have a hard time answering that question, and the reason being is because when you look at the price action, okay, what do we have? We do have like a series of higher highs and higher lows, so we are trending upwards. But the thing that people forget here is that we are in a range-bound environment, so we are at resistance here. And when you're in a range-bound environment, what do you expect? You expect price to simply rotate the range, okay? More importantly, okay, is that we have lows here, 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 and here that haven't been taken out. Now, what about the highs? These highs were taken out. These highs were taken out. These highs were taken out. And even this high was taken out, right? Right, was or is about to. So you get the idea, like each of these highs were all taken out, and that only leaves us with a single high here. Okay, at range high resistance. So when you ask yourselves, or you talk, like when you think to yourself, how could I recognize when a trend reversal might be coming? When you see something like this, where you're constantly having a high, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, where highs are constantly being taken out, where the lows are not being taken out, you could say to yourself, well, there's a lot of liquidity in here, right? There's liquidity down here. These are people's stop losses. So here's the other thing I'm just going to say very briefly. When people look at a chart and they're doing technical analysis, especially when you're starting out, you forget that these candlesticks, people will like look at it and be like what's a great example here? Like they'll look at like this candle here, and they'll be like, oh, that's a morning star, that's a bearish thing because it closed red and it's in the middle like that with the two. That's a doji candle, more or evening star, so that means it's bearish, which means we could see some kind of a reversal. And they're not necessarily wrong, right? That technically is a bearish candle formation that you would see, but like they just know that because they Googled it. Why is it actually a bearish thing? Okay, well, when you have a doji candle like this, it means that the buyers and sellers are at an impasse, right? They're at an indecision, right? They can't decide which way price is going to go. And that's not something that you want to see after a mega uptrend, right? Because if you want this trend to continue, you want to see continued buyers, you want to see continued interest. Each of these candles and this volume down here is real data put in by real people, right? If you think of it that way, if you think like, wow, people really bought a lot here, people are interested in buying, like this is a buy zone, like they're going to want to defend their positions, they're in longs, right? And if all these people did long in here, well, where, like if you longed in there, where would you put your stop loss? Okay, well, you probably have your stop loss below here. So what would really upset you or not be good for you would be if price were to come down and take out your stop, right? Or revisit your entry, right? That's not something that you're going to want to see or want happen to you. And what happens when you do that? Well, you get liquidated, which makes you a forced seller, which then accelerates the downward movement of price, right? And I can do some, extra tutorials on liquidity and how all of that works. But like if your stops are taken, you didn't just lose your money. Your money made you afford, like if you bought here and you get stopped out, you didn't just lose your money, you became a forced seller, right? Which then pushes price lower. That's how people make money, right? On liquidation. So like if someone is like, there is obviously a lot of liquidations in here. So when this was liquidated, you got this massive wick to the upside, right? Because these were the forced buyers, right? People, shorts were liquidated and they became forced buyers, which pushed price higher, which means that someone who bought here, knowing that this would liquidate them, could take profit up here, right? So that's a great way. Ooh, this is very nice. So like that's how you would be making money. Okay, so like again, we're talking about trend reversals, right? Trend reversals. How could you acknowledge that it's time for a trend reversal? This would be a signal of that. We have all these highs here. We're in a range bound environment at resistance. All of these highs were taken out, right? We have all these lows, all these highs were taken out. Maybe it's time we get a move down and we sweep some of these lows, right? So we can go ahead and we'll hit play here. Okay, great. So when it comes to confirmations, all right, this is important. So when it comes to confirmations, and this is the other bit that I want to talk about, right? People will oftentimes be like, well, how do I know like that it was confirmed as resistance? Like, how do I know that? Like, how should I know that it's time to take the short? Well, let's look at this right here as an example, and let's look at a couple different a couple different things here. We had this previous high, right? We had this previous high. We know that this is the range high. It acted as resistance here. Okay, so we had resistance here. We came up, and we're on a 4-hour time frame, by the way. We came up, we had resistance here, and then price pumped through and closed below back inside. This right here is a huge sign to me that this zone is very much resistance. We wicked to it, right? We had another candle closure below it on a 4-hour time frame where it didn't make it up. And then what happened? We had a swing failure to the upside where we took out this previous high here and then closed the candle below. Okay, boom, just right there. This is absolutely confirmed resistance. Okay, was it confirmed resistance here? It wasn't confirmed, but we certainly know that it's resistance. We can see that it's resistance, right? And if we, let's just go back to here, you know, again, we can see here again, like it's resistance. Yeah, for sure. We closed that candle, you know, below again. So yeah, this is resistance. Like this is a resistance zone, but it closed a lot closer this time, right? So like then when you watch the next candle here and you get something like this, okay, price had a chance to go above. It had its opportunity, but it failed to hold the level. Okay, so like that's confirmed. Okay, this is confirmed. This is definitely resistance. Okay, it's definitely resistance. I don't think it's fair to expect price to go any higher, especially when we have all of these lows to be taken out here. This would probably provide some degree of a great short opportunity. Okay, and why is that? Well, like we can check the boxes. Okay, we can check the boxes. We took out the high here. We're at range highs, which is resistance. We had 1, 2, 3 attempts at the highs. All 3 failed to close above. Okay, cool. And this is on a 4-hour time frame. Like if we go down, see, this is where things get confusing. And I'm really happy that we have this example here. So on an hourly time frame here, resistance, right? Resistance, resistance, resistance. But then, hey, look at this. We get a closure above. We get a closure above and we have continuation and we get this move. Now, the other thing that we could look at here, no. So here, this is what makes this such a good example, because I actually have a second example for this same thing later on. You have to keep an eye on all time frames, and you have to look at like what time of day it is and understand like where these candle closures are going to happen. And so when you get this move up and it comes down for a back test and you get the hourly close like this, a massive rejection, okay, that's a sign that this up here is resistance. But if you go to a 4-hour time frame, you can see that it never even closed above, right? You can see that it closed over here. So like oftentimes people will get, let's go down to a half-hour too. Yeah, people will get like overly eager to, you know, long some of these back tests here on a breakout. But you have to be aware of the larger picture and zooming out. And I personally, just based on my trades, like here's what you need to do. You need to acknowledge that you're at a high time frame zone looking for a high time frame trade. Okay? So we spent, you know, since November to December. So this is about, you know, a month and a half, 6 weeks worth of price action. We have not visited this zone in 6 weeks. Okay, so it's somewhat of a higher time frame zone, right? So why would you want to, you know, confirm something on a higher time frame zone with a 30-minute, 15-minute candlestick? Right? You know, that doesn't make sense to me. And when you come down here too, right away, you can see that massive rejection down where it gets that closure again. Like to me, boom, right away, yes, this is definitely resistance. It could not hold above. Price got absolutely pushed back down in a very strong way, right? So regardless of that, you know, at times, if you're in a high time frame zone where you're looking to take a high time frame trade, like a swing trade, you're not necessarily going to count on a 30-minute candle closure above here to confirm that, right? You're going to look to a 4-hour time frame and see these kinds of closures here. And then again, you know, you can look to a daily where you can say, yep, the daily closed below here, and of course the daily closed below here as well, where it's getting rejected. So let's go ahead and just hit play. And at this point, you can say, yeah, it's going for these lows. It's absolutely going for these lows. Right? Okay, cool. Look, the lows were taken out. The lows were taken out, and what happened? What's happening now? Price is consolidating. It's going sideways after a large move. People oftentimes, they see these large moves and they're like, oh, I need to, you know, hop into a long immediately or some kind of a trade. And the truth is that look, we even caught that low there. The truth is that it consolidated for a period of time, right? Swept those lows. It is now consolidating for a period of time again. And you can see here that, you can see here that price, and we did hit that zone perfectly, by the way. Price is putting in some degree of some kind of a range down here, right? It's not just coming down and continuing to dump infinitely, or coming down and just immediately popping back up. Like, it's not just like down and then immediately up. And like people, that's really what they look for. Like, they honestly, oftentimes we get a dump and people are like, oh, this is immediately gonna pump again. And that's just not the case at all, right? So let's go to our current price action. Okay. Yes, let's go to our current price action. Based on what we talked about just now, do we see anything similar here, right? Do we see anything similar to this as we do maybe to this? I think so. I would say so. So, you know, what did we get here? We got this move up, and we got some sideways price action. You know, you can come in here, you know, go to a 30-minute, maybe let's see how this would go, actually. Let's just do this. Okay, first of all, we need to acknowledge that we are in, again, a range-bound environment, right? So let's go ahead and draw out our range. Okay, let's take a note on the very first thing here before we dive into more specifics. Range high was resistance here. How do we confirm that it's resistance again? Well, there were no candle closures, significant candle closures above range high, yet again on a daily time frame, right? So we can say this is a high time frame level. This is a high time frame chart, right? So with that, we're going to want some high time frame confirmation. We're not going to just look at, you know, an hourly time frame. And let's just do that for the heck of it. Look, on an hourly time frame, we had one, two, you know, a bunch of closures above there, right? And someone could have very easily mistakenly longed. But if we go to, let's just check 4 hour. We even had some 4 hour closures above the range high. But what happens when we go to a daily time frame? Oops, that's a 2-day. Go to a daily time frame, there were no closures above that level. Right? So like when you're asking me how do we confirm? Well, it's a high time frame level. Let's use high time frame confirmation. Right? Using high time confirmation, we can say it didn't clear the level. It acted as honestly, if you would have seen, you know, wick, and then finally this rejection here, you could have easily shorted that and just let it ride, because let you know, short it, have your stop loss above here and let it ride, because on a daily time frame, on a higher time frame, it is resistance. Let's just look at a weekly even. Yeah, again, look, on a weekly time frame, we didn't even close above this weekly. Look how significant that is here. Right? If we take this, let's put this on here. Boom. This is a weekly. We didn't even close above that weekly. Look how significant that is. This weekly is still resistance. These zones are still resistance. That's really, really key. It's an important thing to keep an eye on, right? So what are you doing? If you want a confirmation, use a confirmation candle that's equal to the time frame that you're trying to trade on. Okay, that's what, in my opinion, that's what's most important here. And I'm gonna show you like another example too. There's just like another small one off the top of my head. But let's go to a trying to decide here how much time have we been in? Yeah. Okay, so I was going to go through and draw all these out with you guys, but I'm actually just going to keep this a little bit more concise, and I'm going to put these on here myself. Or I've already put them on here myself, so we're just going to go ahead and use them. So let's go back down to here. We're going to go to a 30-minute time frame. We put in this high and we put in this low, and you know, with that, we can get some degree of a channel here. I'm going to hide this larger channel. So when price gets to this point here and we have a rejection down to here, people will say, okay, this is the long, we're going to continue higher right away. Or this was the short, oh shoot, I should hop in a short because we're going to retrace this whole move. No, price doesn't have to do that at all. Why shouldn't it just go sideways for a time, right? So, you know, let's watch price sort of unfold here. I'm going to put this at 3 times so it's a little bit faster. Yeah, and all this time people would be saying, we're going to continue the pump. I should be longing this whole thing, or I should be shorting this. We're going to go lower, etc., right? Okay, cool. So we got a little bit of a high here. The mid range is still very well respected. The high range is respected. Okay, cool. Again, the smaller rejection here. Not quite to the mid range. All right, now at this point, we're going to pause. We can start to see some kind of a trend here, right? Start to see some kind of a trend line here. Right, we can start to see some kind of a trend forming here. Okay. And what else is pretty suspect of this move here? We have not taken out this low, this low, this low, this low, this low, this low. But we continue to take out highs. We took this one out. We took this one out. We took this one out. Okay. Well, at this point, my trend reversal, right? I'm starting to think, maybe we'll see some kind of a reversal here. Maybe we'll see some kind of a sweep of price action. Okay? We're seeing all of these wicks to the upsides and we continue to reject, right? We're creating sort of this upwards trend. I think that, you know, maybe it's time to start looking for some degree of a short entry, you know, in this upper zone here, right? In this sort of in this upper zone, start to look for some kind of a short entry, right? Okay. Boom. All right. So we got it right here, right? We've seen the rejection time and time and time and time and time again. And of course, the longer we go without taking out these lows, we just added more fuel. Massive liquidation, the bottom of our channel, still very well respected, right? So like when I see all of these here, where did my head go? I'm like, I think that these are going to be taken out. And then of course we're at the bottom of the range, so you take a range trade. Stop loss below here, range trade. Okay, so I'm in a short. I took profit at the midline, I took profit at the bottom, and I have 25% running. I took a long here, and as we can see, we already hit the midline profit, right? Now let's watch to see how the rest of this plays out. Okay, take profit 2 on my short, or on my long, I'm sorry, right here. My short got stopped out here or at break even, wherever my entry was if I readjusted, and my 25% runner on my long is still running. Okay. So can you see like how we did that there? And you know, we're working on like an hourly 30-minute time frame here to do some of this, right? Because this is not we're using a time frame that's relevant to the time frame of the price action that we're watching, right? But if we zoom out, you know, we're keeping in mind, we're like, hey, you know what? Based on what I know, being that we are in being that we're in a macro channel and we just, you know, we're at the midline, it's my best guess that we're probably going for these highs. Okay? We just took out this high, and we're about to take out this high, and now I think we're going to take this one out. Right? So I'm thinking I'm keeping my high time frame bias on where I think, yeah, we'll probably go higher, but on a lower time frame, I can still find these trades like this one here. Let's just go ahead and hide this. Like this one here to trade this, not only trade this channel, but then get a long opportunity that I can ride up higher. Okay, now let's hit play and just continue on from here. Okay. All right, so price had a pretty big move up. And now again, we're seeing some kind of, you know, staggering here. So at this point, and I remember sharing each of these with you, and I would like to draw them out with you today, but to save time, I already have them drawn out here. And at this point is when I did draw this out again. And the reason, and you would say, well, why is that? Because we rejected here. We had many opportunities to break up over it here, but we had a rejection, 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 failure to close above, massive move down. Okay, cool. It's confirmed. This is resistance. This is confirmed resistance, right? Price is failing to break up above it. It's confirmed resistance. All right, done. So I'm just going to simply, again, do what? Trade the range and let price action play out. So let's see. Okay, deviation. Caught the long here. Midline take profit. Long here, midline take profit. Okay, so this is the one that I want to talk about right here. This is the one right here. This is it. Okay, so I actually shorted in here and I got stopped out. Now, the reason why is someone asked me, well, couldn't we, you know, get this move in back test here and then get the short? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. And I entered the position too early, and I'm going to show you how and why or where I kind of went wrong there. Okay. So we are on an hourly time frame. Let's even go down to a half hour. And you can see just how well respected the bottom of the channel is, right? Didn't lose it here, lost it here, reclaimed it, okay, but then lost it again here with a closure below. And you'd say, wow, this closure below, like we've closed below it so many times here, this is probably some kind of, we can see that it's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. You know, this is probably gonna end up dumping. Well, let's go to a 4-hour time frame. On a 4-hour time frame, price did not ever close below the channel low, right? It held as support. Technically, it held as support on a 4-hour time frame. So when we were down here at a 30-minute, 15-minute time frame or whatever else, I remember vividly right in here or wherever, it was somewhere in here, after I had taken the short and I saw the 4-hour close inside, I was like, ooh, this doesn't look good. I remember messaging it in the Discord. I said, this does not look good. We had the 4-hour candle closure inside here, and I watched as on a 4-hour time frame, it continued to hold. Okay. So again, if you can say, all right, on a 4-hour time frame, this is confirmed support on a 4-hour time frame, then that way you can go down to a 30-minute time frame and you can say, well, I'm going to enter some of these deviations here, and if as long as we continue to hold as support here on a 4-hour time frame, then great. Okay, cool. Let's go back onto a lower time frame. Yep, here we go. So hit play. So deviation here. Now we can see maybe something similar happening here, right? Maybe this is turning into similar, you know, where we're trending kind of upwards, but we're still in this channel, right? So we'll be patient and see. Maybe look at drawing some kind of a trend line here. Okay. And all right. So for sure, we are seeing something here, right? We are definitely seeing something here. Okay. There's definitely something here. And you know what? You can even say it actually even looks like it might be a channel. So we could go like this. And by the way, of course this all seems in hindsight, right? Hindsight analysis, but I gave you guys all of this same stuff live, right? This wasn't I'm not just doing this now that I know it. I actually did all of it live. So we'll go ahead and hit play. Mm-hmm. Yep, massive rejection, right? And we broke down and it's kind of struggling to hold on to this. Oh, excuse me. And it's struggling to hold on to this uptrend channel here. All right. Massive move to the upside again. Okay, now this to me is where things get the most interesting. Right here. And we actually took this trade. All right. So right here, we can see just how well respected this continues to be, right? Again, you know, what has happened here? We have, similarly like to before, we had this low, this low, this low, this low, this low. All have not been taken out, not even right here, actually. Okay. And we can draw that channel and we can say, well, you know, we really have some nice confluence in this zone. You could say some degree of a back test of this area. I would look for, you know, some degree of a short opportunity. I believe this is what it was. This channel feels a little bit off. Yeah, I don't have this drawn the same way I drew it in the... Did I have it further down like this? I must have. I must have drawn it further. Because we had the intersection here, if you guys remember. We had the intersection between the top of the channel there and the bottom of this sideways channel here. I must have drew it lower. But anyway, you guys get the idea, right? And so now what did we see happen? We're seeing some of these lows getting taken out here. And now again, like let's remove some of this stuff. I'm just going to kind of clean this up a little bit. Generally speaking here, what happened, right? We got the pump, we moved sideways, we swept the lows, we got to move up. We got the pump, we moved sideways. Now, what would we be thinking to happen, right? Is that we would get some degree of a sweep of the lows and then, you know, continuation to the upside. And we can look, you know, at this previous zone here as support. Okay. So again, I mean, as you guys all know how this played out, we started to, not quite here, boom, take out the lows, right? We've swept the lows. And again, I don't have this drawn. I must have had this just a little bit higher. Let's pause this here because we did then enter a nice trade in here. Yeah, I must have had this just a little bit higher. Let's get this actually sideways. I think I must have drawn it something like this. So something similar to that, right? So if you think of this as a zone, you know, we're basically finding this area as a support zone, right? Go down to a 30-minute here. We'll just go ahead and hit play. So again, like what happened, we got this move down. I just want to point this out again. Like I just can't emphasize this enough. It's crazy to me, right? My strategy literally a lot of the times is I'll watch these big moves knowing that we're probably going to put in a sideways range, right? I'll watch these big move knowing that we're going to put it a sideways range. Okay? I'm the guy that trades those ranges, okay? The people who don't, they're constantly longing, trying to long a breakout, getting wrecked here, looking to fall through the floor here for this move to get. I mean, they're constantly just looking for the next big move when you could be channel trading here and just making consistent profits, making consistent money. And again, what happened? We got this move down and we're going sideways. That's what price does. It needs a break. It's exhausted from these massive moves, right? So again, you know, we got a long trade here off of a 618. It back tested this zone. So now we're thinking to ourselves, well, we came down. We took out all of these lows. We had a massive liquidation. We can see that this area is holding as support. Maybe it's time for another reversal. We could take out this high, this high, this high, this high, this high, this one, and this one. All the lows are taken out, right? But why not? Let's sweep the highs again. So if you guys can, you know, kind of start to wrap your head around this process, it really starts to make sense, right? Using confirmations that are appropriate to the time frame, right? And knowing where you are. So look at this. If we again, we've thought to ourselves like, you know, our initial when we're looking at a higher time frame, we're initially like, yeah, I think it's very likely that we're going to go for this high. So what happened? We took out this high. Great, done. We took out this high. Let me even be more specific. We took this one out when we ranged. We took this one out and we ranged. Now let's take this one out. What's probably going to happen? Well, we're probably going to range. And plus, it's a high time frame resistance, right? It's a high time frame range. So let's look to see kind of what happens up there, right? And again, we can go to our hourly. Let's put this on and this on, and we'll go ahead and hit play. Okay, let's pause it. I'm going to put this back on. So we finally hit our higher time frame resistance. Okay. We hit our higher time frame resistance. All right, and we can see, again, what's happening. We're putting in a range. Not surprising. All right, let's draw out a channel, and let's try to trade this channel. I'm going to go ahead and hide this one here. Oops, what did I just do? Oh, I changed my chart. So again, like, you know, here we are. Let's just simply trade this, new channel that we have, right? And that's exactly what we did. And now, oh, it just fast forwarded to current price action. But again, like, you know, after failing to take out these highs, after failing to get that daily closure, the weekly closure, whatever, on a higher time frame, let's go back out to the daily time frame. Take a look here. Like what do you think's going to happen now? Well, we have some lows here that weren't taken out. We have some here that weren't taken out. We had some here that weren't taken out that are now getting taken out, right? We, you know, see these moves up, these moves up, these moves up. I mean, maybe after taking out all of these highs, including this one, why not get a larger sweep and then, you know, go from there, right? Let's look for a larger sweep, take out this low, you know, maybe put in a range. right? Based on everything that we've done and that we know, why don't we get a move down, range, break to the upside a little bit, right? Something happens, and then either A, continue up, or maybe break back down, take out this low, right? Maybe get low back down to the range low. Maybe we do a channel trade, right, from the range high to the range low. So the idea, again, when we're talking about this trend reversal, or to like understand where price is going to go, you know, when I look at this and I see price up here, I'm not like, yeah, let's long. Price is going to go to 30K right now. No, it's not, right? It's more likely that we start to take out some of these lows here, right? That we say a sweep. We see a sweep of the lows. So you know that, and that's, for me, that's again like what we're looking at. It's very similar to, like I pointed out earlier, it's very similar to this, right? We had this move, we came down, swept the lows, and then we had continuation, right? Very similar. Why not get that move down, sweep the low, and then have continuation, right? Or take another stab at the range high. So when you think of, again, like when you think of this data, when you think of the chart, the candles, the volume as real people putting in real data, and you think, where are their stop losses? What would be unfortunate for the most amount of people? How could market makers make money off of this situation? Where does everything line up? You kind of start to really put together a picture, right? When you do this, when you look at things like that, you really start to put together some kind of a picture that can tell you like, hey, maybe it's time for a trend reversal. You know, this is a high time frame chart, not closing above here on the daily for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. I would say that's a confirmed resistance, right? That is for sure. It was resistance here. We're trying it again. That's a for sure confirmed resistance again. We're probably going to reject from there, right? Thinking, where are people stop? Look at this. We have this massive move up. Price didn't just do that on its own. It didn't just pump on its own. No, it had real people. This is real people longing. People longed here. That means that they have liquidation prices and stop losses. As they move up, where are they probably putting their stops? Where would you? If you got this pump and then you move up here, you'd probably put your stop here. You get this move down here and we pump up higher, you probably move your stop up to here, even though your entry's here. You want to have your stop here, right? You start changing it. You start adjusting it. Most of the stops are probably right here right now, right? So in my eyes, that's a target. That's a target. Price wants to stop them out because people, they make money off of others' liquidations and stop hunts. Okay, so I have a zone when it comes to trend reversals. I found a zone that I think that we would probably go to for this trend reversal. And now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, yeah, it's probably time that we see that trend reversal, right? Because we have this low, we have this low, we've been taking out all the highs. We took out all the highs. There's only one more high to get taken out. But in this case, we have lows here and here that are now taken out, that, you know, that we could see some kind of a move down to get swept. Okay. So what are we at right now? We are at, pretty long 50 minutes. So I'm definitely going to call it there. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me in the Discord. This was a, you know, a very improv sort of live stream today. It's there wasn't, it's not like something that you can Google, right? It's not like Googling Fibonacci or wedges or anything like that. This is, you know, more or less putting you in the mindset of a trader and how to think of like how price action is going to behave and why it's going to behave that way. Instead of getting up here and everyone's like, oh, let's long, I think we're going to rip to 30K, right? Or now that we're falling, everyone's like, oh my God, are we going to go back down to 12K? Like, are we going to keep, it's just like, you know, these moves don't happen all that fast. They don't just all of a sudden poof happen. You get the move, you get a range. 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 We're getting the move, and we'll probably get another range. Right? That's how it works. Price needs a break. It needs to get exhausted. And what I'm telling you is that you can make money trading those ranges rather than, you know, just waiting for a breakout. And then bonus, you can hedge yourself on either side of that range. So if it breaks to the upside, you have a 25% runner. Breaks to the downside, you have a 25% runner that gives you extra profits along the way. and you're prepared for either set. So yeah, we'll call it there. I just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of how to watch price action. I posted in the Discord last night asking if you guys had any sort of things that you wanted me to do for tutorials, and someone sort of gave me this idea where, again, this isn't something that you could just Google. This is very, um, specific stuff that you would really only know if you've been trading for some time, right? To learn how to read the charts and just understand, really what you're looking at. So again, thank you guys for joining me today. We'll have this the video uploaded, and again, to check out my website. Like this video will be again on my website with all of the other tutorials that I do offer on here. So be sure to check that out if you guys haven't already. I've been super excited about this. Took a long time to build this out, and now that it's done, I'm very, very, very happy with it. So enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you in the Discord.